All right, Shalom. I want to start out by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shemi Awashah by Hashem Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. It's Shalom to all the Akim out there pushing the word and sincerity and in truth. And this lesson is just going to be going into really helping brothers, you know, mainly focusing on the feeble brothers, the new brothers that's coming in, men that are inexperienced in a lot of areas. They're weak, what have you. They're still in the baby phases, so to speak, and they're still on the milk. And those are the brothers you should focus on most. Why? Because, like I said, they're feeble. All right, and as a babe, when you look at the nature of a baby has to be monitored a lot more closely because baby picks. A baby has a tendency to do foolish things, man. A baby will pick up random items. You know, teething and just trying it for taste to see if it actually is edible for consumption. A baby will touch certain things that's dangerous because their senses aren't exercised on a level. They'll venture out to areas. They'll they'll go as far as going around animals, dangerous animals, because like I said, their senses aren't exercised, so they'll put themselves in danger's way. And you as a shepherd or older brother in this faith, your main job is to keep brothers secure. Of course, being a shepherd to a sheep, a sheep will do foolish things at times due to a lack of, not being mentally elevated or not being as intelligent as it should be. So it's the same thing in the truth. A lot of brothers, when you first come in, you still are youthful. You have a lot of youthful lust, youthful intent, and you do things without having your senses exercised on a level, and you'll venture out into danger zones. And that's why you have brothers around you that'll reprove you, correct you, guide you, give you proper counsel, and give you a level of self-awareness so you know what to do and what not to do. And also for younger men, you got to learn how to also take correction for the brothers that coming into this thing. That's one of the most important things is taking a level of self criticism. All right, critiquing yourself and seeing where you fall short, and figuring out the best movements possible to survive in this spiritual race of ours. So I really want to go into how animals actually help each other through instinctive abilities. Animals have a high level of instinct or exercise senses to know when that their fellow comrades or fellow animals are in a messed up situation, and their whole reaction is to actually focus on the one that's in an injured or in a position of straits to actually bear the animal and support him to until he's able to actually walk on his own too and actually hold his own weight. So this is under dolphins. It says dolphins have been known to help other dolphins even without the guidance of organized religion. Some animals instinctively know that it is a good thing to help others. So yeah, and it's the same thing with brothers in the truth. This has to be instinctive. All right, you see a brother that's struggling, don't put a blind eye towards that or overlook it or undermine it. Just because you're dealing with a lot on your plate, you got to take time out of your life, and you got to really focus and key in on these younger men. And of course, there's a hierarchy, so to speak. There's an order in this thing. Older men deal with men on for lack of a better term, on a level under, on a grade level under, and it trickles on down. But those brothers that's on that's at a younger state, they may be younger than the camp leaders and things of that nature. They have to always regard the men that are higher than themselves, and also regard the men that are younger than themselves. Not always focusing on, not only focusing on the things that are to build them up, or actually focusing on getting with older men, but actually getting with younger men, because younger men, like I said, they need some of the most focus, because it could be a short, or it could be a small thing that if a man actually takes that wrong path, it can lead to fatal injury or death. All right, through, like I said, lack of judgment and lack of knowledge. All right, and another thing too, when you're an older man, of course, your senses is pretty much on a level. You know what I'm saying? You know how to move. You have a sense of reservedness. You have a level of carefulness. You know how to move with balance because you failed plenty of times. All right, so you understand how to balance yourself in perfect harmony in the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shah. But a young man, he still doesn't have those abilities. All right, so some animals instinctively know that it's a good thing to help others, a helping hand. For example, when a bird spots a predator, instead of just flying away, it calls out an alarm and warns everyone in the vicinity. Right. So a bird takes on the position of a watchman. Each bird in the collective unit, they are working together for the kill, for a large consumption, for breeding, for you know whether it's certain animals for like a spiritual military, so to speak, like wolves in a pack, and they also actually help each other out to stay in safe zones, safe spots. All right, because sometimes certain animals will have a blind eye or will possibly be blindsided because they don't have 360-degree vision, so to speak. They only have two eyes, so to speak, depending on the animal it is. But that's why you have a conglomerate. You have an actual actual unit or actual a large quantity of animals that work together because like as it is written in the scriptures, two are better than one. So it says instead of just flying away, it calls out an alarm and warns everyone in the vicinity. All right, when a dolphin is injured, other dolphins help to swim up to the surface and get some air. Right, and this is important things, man. That's why the scripture says, ask the beast and they shall tell thee. All right, this should be really looked at and observed, and you have to actually accumulate that wisdom and you utilize it. These are wise things that the animals actually use because they know that it's a power in the unit. All right, and if there's one injured, a lot of time they're all injured. All right, because sometimes animals will look back. Sometimes, depending on the position of the animal, if it's an alpha and he's in harm's way and he's in the cusp of teeth, likely to be torn asunder, then that can damage the unit detrimentally, so to speak. And that's certain situations that certain animals they know that that's of a very high importance to move in a unit and for all to be in safe place. So it's the same thing. We have to move in the same thing in this truth. All right. And spiritually, you got to make sure brothers get the proper amount of oxygen, which is, of course, this word. All right, the proper amount of water. Make sure that they safe and stay in this spiritual shelter. That's why the scriptures reference this unto food. It references it unto water. It references it unto shelter. It references men above you as fathers and mothers. All right, and also shepherds are also guardians or watchmen. So it says, and in the lab experiment that was set up so that one rat had to sit on a platform or else his rat friends would get an electrical shock. When they tried to feed, the rats quickly learned to cooperate and take turns sitting on the platform. Right, so the different animals, they work in conjunction and in complete harmony because there's a strength in numbers and there's a strength in the spirit of the unit, all right, the pack, so to speak. So I got this word also, a support, because this one is going to revolve around a lesson going into support. Support, bear all or part of the weight of. Yeah, so in certain situations, in certain times where you might have to bear a portion of this brother. In certain times you might have to bear the whole brother. you know, Depending on how he is spiritually. Like I said, he might be spiritually weak as well. Sometimes brothers might go through financial straits, might go through hell in the world. They might get kicked out of their dwelling quarters, all right, and they may need their brother to actually give them a shelter, give them a bite to eat because his money is low, all right, give him something to drink, give him clothing if he's lacking, whatever he has. You got certain brothers probably in a situation where their house burned down, man, lost it all. But that's why the scriptures speak about that. And I got the scripture. It says when a brother that's weak, you gotta receive that man. All right, whatever you receive, you actually hold in the close, and close hold close to you, and in a form of embracement. Holding close to your bosom. So it says produce enough food and water for being capable of sustaining. And that's the main job of each and every one of us. For us to produce enough food and water for a brother to be able to stand on his own too, so that he'll be able to prepare the table for himself and for the others. All right, it's a each one teach one thing. You get it for yourself, so to speak, and you learn under the apostles and elders. And as it is written in John, you have no need that man teach you, because the Spirit is the guider at that point. And the Spirit guides you to do what? Wake up other individuals and grow them up on a level. All right, as babes growing up to men in this thing. All right, as it is written, to wax old or grow old in your work. So it says, be capable of fulfilling a role adequately, endure, tolerate, give assistance to, especially financially, enable to function or act. So I'm gonna go to the Latin. The word support is supportare, which means to tolerate, to put up with. Right, and this is burdensome. All right, sometimes a brother might be a burden unto you, but it's a burden that you have to bear, and you can't complain while bearing it. You know that it's for a greater matter. The scripture says, "Be not weary in well doing." You're doing a well and charitable act, and that's what the Lord loves. That's a beautiful thing in the eyes of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and it should actually, you should actually love to do this thing, man. It's a labor of love, even though it might be strenuous. It might be the bearing might be pain-stricken, so to speak, but it's still a labor of love. At the end of the day, you help that brother get from point A to point B. You strengthen his faith. He has a level of dependence towards you. He sees that you are a brother that's of a high self-reliability, and you made a friend, at the end of the day. Because if you fall short, and we all fall short, if you fall short and you in a bad state, guess what? The brother that, you helped out and you invested so much energy to actually strengthen him, he's going to strengthen you in your weaker state. All right. So this is Acts 20 and 35. I have showed you all things, how that so laboring you ought to support the weak, and to remember the words of the Lord Yahushua, how he said, it is more blessed to give than receive. So it is more blessed to give than receive. All right. So everything in your vessel should be towards giving other than receiving. All right. And the scripture says, freely receive, freely gives. Even if you do receive, the intent is to receive, to build yourself up, to help them that actually hear you. All right, this isn't a thing of where we bask and we're looking for vainglory and self-recognition, self-glorification. It's a thing where we actually grow and build in the spirit, and wax fat in this thing, so to speak, to put other brothers on a level, so to speak. That's how the apostles deal. The apostles always tell brothers, get on them herbs, learn the Hebrew. You got to learn the wisdom of this book, understand the Greek, understand your whereabouts, know how to move as a man. All right. You can't be you can't be a child forever, so to speak. This truth is known as the sincere word that you grow thereby. So every day you're supposed to be growing. And like I said, you have many of your quarters also on your team, that your spiritual team, of course, that are young, and they're youthful. So you have to actually work with the youth. You have to actually strengthen the youth, because the strength actually enables you, as well as it enables him. It tells you that in matter of fact, I got the scripture on my phone, Proverbs 20 and 29. The glory of young men is their strength, and the beauty of old men is the gray head. Right, and the aged men, they're the older generation, so to speak, in the spirit. Because brothers come in classes. Brothers, the class of 2018, the class of 2017. You got brothers from the class of 2010. But the brother from the class of 2010, he's kind of like a gray-headed, so to speak. He's a elder, elder brother. The word elder means older, and he has a unique and a immense amount of wisdom to give you and direct you, so that you can actually utilize your strength and mobilize your strength to maximum capacity. All right, and like I said, likewise, you as an aged man, you got a brother that could reel the ship, so to speak. He got a high level of strength to the point where he can help keep this thing moving like a well-oiled machine. The Most High deals with the strong as well as the feeble. All right, that's the perfect balance. So also I want to read this in 1 Thessalonians 5:14. Now we exhort you, brethren, warn them that are unruly. So when it's a man that's unruly and self-will, you got to warn that man. Get on him, comfort the feeble-minded. So if a brother his mind is feeble and is wavering, he's still weak in the faith, just as Peter, was through doubtful mind. What did Yahweh Shah do? He comforted him. The word comfort is a compound word. Com is with, fort is fortification. What do you fortify a man with? The spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah. Psalms 34:7. The angels of the Lord encamp around them that fear him. All right, so you build a brother in the fear. You build a brother in the faith so that he'll be properly fortified and he'll be properly, defended for the time of trouble. Jacob's trouble. Because there's certain situations that arise where a brother needs that defense. He needs that maneuverability. He needs to learn how to avoid. He needs to learn how to retract his tongue. All right, depending on the situation. All those are essentials in this thing of ours. All right. So it says, support the weak, be patient toward all men, and that's especially towards men of the circumcision, as it is written. So get that word support in the Greek, anteko or antiko, to hold before or against, hold back, withstand, endure, to keep oneself directly opposite to anyone, hold to him firmly, cleave to, paying heed to him. So these young men should be paid heed to. All right, you have to look at these brothers and be like, all right, what does this brother need to work on? He needs to, get stronger. He might need to slow his tongue down and listen more. All right, he needs to build his faith. His faith seems like it's wavering. All right, he needs to be more attentive minded. All right, he seems like he's off track mentally. He seems a little slothful. So just like I said, in the spirit, that's why our job is as older brothers. Whether you're 5, 6 years, 4 years in, and you have a man that's a couple months to a couple years under your guidance, you have to guide them the right way, because it's a right and it's a wrong way to do everything, and we all have to take heed how we help brothers out and how we actually deal with brothers, because the scriptures speak about the little ones, man. Offend not the little ones, because it is it speaks about a millstone that'll be wrapped around your neck if you do so. So this is Romans 14:1. Him that is weak in the faith receive ye, but not to doubtful disputations. So that's really the main point. It goes into a lot of other things. I could expound upon it, but the main point scripture I really wanted to go into is him that is weak in the faith. All right, you have brothers that's very, very weak in the faith, and that's okay. But our job is to strengthen the brother that's weak in the faith. All right, stimulate his faith. All right, just as Yahweh Shah stimulated the faith of the disciples, and he stimulated their faith so greatly that their faith actually manifests in the spiritual power. All right, because Yahweh Shah received them. All right, but just like it says, not to any doubtful disputations. All right, so that's all I have for you, Akim. Hopefully, you brothers was edified. I'm going to end it by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shah, by Hashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone.